All right. So first of all, I just want to say thanks for coming in. This is our third interview, and we're
Okay.
reaching out to all the candidates to talk policy. And we
Okay.
know this is the time when you need to knock on doors, but we also think it's important for folks to have a resource as they look about who to vote that gets a little deeper and into what your
Right.
plans are and what you can do or could potentially do as mayor. So
Right. Right.
let's start simple. Why are you running, and who are you?
All right. I'm Theo Spencer. 41-year-old resident of the Parkside neighborhood. Um, I've lived in Camden, you know, almost all my life. I spent some time in D.C. and other places when I was in college. Um, when I always kind of had this streak that I wanted to be mayor. Um, but I had an uncle who was really, really into politics in Camden, and he basically pressed me. He said, "Well, look, what can you do, or what do what can you bring to the city? I mean, if you're just going to be a face, that it's not going to help us out at all." So, it was always on the back of my mind for years. And then when I was working on my MBA in New Orleans, I was there during Hurricane Katrina, and I was back and forth in New Orleans, and I was looking around at the devastation, and I came back up to New Jersey because I couldn't stay in New Orleans any longer, and I noticed that Camden had most of the same issues that New Orleans had, and there was no hurricane that hit. I mean, like in New Orleans, you could go to New Orleans East, and you could literally look through the front door of a building, and you could see through the roof, you could see through the back door. I mean, the house was just totally blown away. You walk in some place in South Camden, I mean, there were houses around the corner from me that had they looked the same way. And I just from that point, just like, there has to be something different in the city. Somebody has to kind of step up and that has some ability, some capability, some understanding, um, some perspective that's not been in Camden for the last however many years to come in and really change the idea of the city and change what people think about the city. So I was on the school board for 3 years, and for the last once I left the school board, I've worked all across the region, as far as New York and because of the company I work for now, Accenture. I traveled quite a bit, but I ran in 2013 because I just had a lot of issues with the way the city is run and a lot of the things that I see. And I'm running again because the direction that the city is going in is a platform that's not going to help the residents. It it helps Camden County, but it's done nothing for the city. And unless we have people that are willing to stand up and say, hey, look, this doesn't benefit Camden at all, we shouldn't do it, then, it's hard for me to imagine what this city is going to be and who it's going to serve and who's going to be underserved, 4 years from now. So, I mean, yeah, that's philosophically why I'm running.
So,
Um,
so let's dive into specifics. Let's
okay.
imagine day one of a Spencer administration.
hmm
What's the top thing on your desk? What's number one on the to-do list that's an accomplishable task as mayor?
I think at the end of the day, the mayor is the manager of all the day-to-day affairs of the city. There are a number of things that are, I feel, day-to-day affair things that need to be addressed that, you know, the current administration, um, the administration that the mayor is promoting, they're just not going to do. For instance, in Camden, let's say you mail a check into the property tax office, uh, and the property tax deadline is May 10th. If they get your check on May 10th, but they don't cash it on May 10th, they will send it back to you because your property tax check got there late. That is bananas. I mean, it's the craziest thing. Anybody in business will tell you the theory of the time value of money is that your money is worth more today than it will be next week when we get cash. If you go to the property tax office a day late, they will not let you pay with credit card. I mean, this is bananas, and this is all because they have they have managers in the city that have made, I guess, determinations that really just make no sense. It's like in the city of Camden, if you miss the tax deadline, they only accept what are called certified funds. Well, somebody has made a decision on what certified funds is. It's so narrow, and there's a ton of decisions around City Hall that are like that. So I think the first year and a half to 2 years of my administration are about making the city a functional entity. That goes for everything. That's instituting a performance evaluation program. That is dealing with a number of offices that I feel like should work differently than what they do. So there are a ton of management day-to-day decisions in the city of Camden that need to be made, that on day one, you have to go in and you have to investigate. You got to go to each office, make them explain what they do, and come up with a overall plan and understanding of how all this works to benefit residents and constituents. So,
well, let's use that as a jumping off point to get into some specific policy areas.
okay.